All right, so in our last explainer, we went deep on the air side of airports, the runways, the gates, the planes themselves. But today, we're hopping over the security fence to the other side. We're going landside. And believe me, this is where the real money is made.
I know, that sounds completely wrong, doesn't it? An airport not making its money from flying? But it's true. The fees that airlines pay to land and passengers pay for tickets, that's just one piece of this huge economic engine. The biggest, most profitable part has almost nothing to do with actually getting on a plane.
And this chart right here is a real eye-opener. Just look at the difference. The revenue from the land side, what they call non-aeronautical sources, often crushes the money made from flights. And you know why? It's a much more stable income. It isn't so vulnerable to stuff like bad weather or flight cancellations, and it taps into every single person who sets foot on airport property, whether they're flying or not.
So let's start with the part of the landside business we all know best, the money that's made directly from you, the passenger. From the second you arrive, you're on a very carefully crafted economic journey. You ever get that feeling that you have to walk through a giant shopping mall just to get to your gate? Well, that's not an accident. That is the core of the airport's business model. Every single twist and turn is designed to put you right in front of another store.
Here's how they make it work. It's kind of brilliant, actually. First, every shop pays a base rent, just like any other mall. But second, and this is the real key, they also have to pay the airport a percentage of every single thing they sell. So the airport has a huge incentive to make sure you walk past and hopefully right into as many of those shops as possible.
And yep, the exact same idea applies to that ridiculously expensive coffee you grab for an early flight or the burger you get during a layover. All those food and beverage spots are another absolutely massive and super reliable source of landside cash. So just like the stores, restaurants, and bars have lease agreements, and they almost always have to share a slice of their revenue, and they can get away with charging those premium prices because, let's be honest, you're a captive audience. Once you're through security, where else are you going to go? Your limited options mean bigger profits for the airport. Okay, now we get to what might just be the single most profitable part of the entire airport operation. It's something most of us use and probably don't think twice about: car parking. It is an absolute high-margin cash cow.
So what makes parking such a gold mine? Well, it's a classic high-margin business. Think about it. Once you've built the parking garage, the ongoing costs are incredibly low. A little bit of security, some lighting, the automated ticket machines. But the revenue? It's enormous, and it pours in 24/7 with different prices for short-term, long-term, and those premium spots right by the terminal.
But the airport starts making money off your car before you even think about parking. In fact, even if you're just getting dropped off, pretty much every form of ground transportation is another chance for the airport to collect a fee.
That line of taxis waiting outside, they each paid a fee to be there. The Uber or Lyft you called? The driver pays a per-trip fee to the airport just to pick you up. Shuttle buses, rental car companies, they all pay for access. The airport is basically a gatekeeper, charging a toll for every single commercial vehicle using its roads.
Okay, so that covers all the businesses you can actually see. But now, let's go behind the scenes, where this massive industrial engine is humming away, totally out of sight for the average traveler. And this is where the scale just gets mind-boggling.
It's so easy to forget that it's not just people flying in and out of airports. Air cargo is a gigantic industry, and airports are the critical nerve centers in the global supply chain. Every single one of those packages is another revenue stream.
So airports charge fees just for handling all that freight. They lease out enormous warehouses to companies like FedEx and DHL. They offer special facilities like huge refrigerators for shipping medicine. And get this, a huge amount of that cargo is flying right underneath you in the belly of your passenger plane, making money on the very same flight you're on.
And it doesn't stop there. Beyond the runways, airports have turned into some of the biggest landlords around. They often own these vast tracts of surrounding land, and they've become masters at developing it for profit.
This quote really says it all, doesn't it? We're talking about entire hotel complexes, huge office parks, conference centers, all owned and operated by the airport. It's led to this idea of the aerotropolis, literally an airport city, which turns the airport from just a place you pass through into a massive commercial destination itself.
So let's pull all these threads together. How do all these different pieces, the shops, the parking, the hidden cargo operations, add up to the modern airport experience we all know?
We've all felt that, right? That sense that you're in a retail space first and at transportation hubs second. Well, it is not your imagination. It's a very deliberate and very effective business strategy. It all boils down to this concept they call dwell time. That's the golden hour, or hours, between when you get through security and when your flight starts boarding. The airport's entire commercial goal is to maximize every minute of that time and to capture it economically by guiding you past every possible shop, bar, and restaurant.
Now, how aggressively an airport goes after your dwell time money often comes down to who owns it. Publicly owned airports might have to balance making a profit with their duty as a public service. But privately owned airports, they are often laser-focused on squeezing every last drop of commercial revenue out for their shareholders.
So, to sum it all up, your journey fuels their revenue. From the moment you pay for parking, to the coffee you buy, to the cargo flying underneath your seat that you didn't even know was there, it is all part of this massive landside economic machine. So if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Modern airports are not just transportation hubs that happen to have some shops. They are complex, powerful businesses that also happen to have runways. And once you see them that way, everything makes a lot more sense. Which leads us with a really fascinating question for the future. As technology like self-driving cars changes how we even get to the airport, what new landside businesses are going to pop up? What's the next hidden cash cow for the airport of tomorrow?